Absolutely. Millions of Ukrainians here have experienced one of the worst nights that we've had since the beginning of the full-scale invasion here in Kyiv, in terms of the amount of explosions that were heard, also the intensity of what we've heard. Last night here in the city center, we could hear drones flying really low before being intercepted for those who were which were intercepted, and so a lot of explosions, not a lot of sleep for millions of people here. You've mentioned there's a number of people who died in Kyiv region when debris or missiles or drones crashed, into their houses. So there are civilians victims of those strikes, and not only here in Kyiv, but also elsewhere in the country, in the western part of the country, in the region of Khmelnytsky. A number of people died in Ternopil, an industrial site, an industrial facility was hit by a missile. We're still counting the amount of damage. We're still assessing the amount of damage that has been caused, but certainly seen from the ground, it's very difficult for Ukrainians, for journalists witnessing what's happening, to see any sign that Russia really is willing to gear towards a ceasefire, to work on a peace memorandum, as it seems to be continuously targeting civilian infrastructures every night with drones, with missiles which are, says the Ukrainian authorities, more difficult to intercept because they've been updated so as to be more lethal, so as to be more difficult to intercept, to spot when they are flying towards the targets.
Meanwhile, Emmanuelle, the past few days have also seen scenes of joy in Ukraine as prisoners return home. Tell us about some of the families that you know who've been reunited.
Well, indeed, there has been relief for 694 families so far. Those are the families who got their loved one back since the beginning of this exchange. It is the major exchange. It is the biggest since the beginning of Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine in 2014. There are, for example, there was a father who came back from captivity. His daughter had been in occupied territory, held against her will there, and she managed to come back also in Ukraine. And both of them who could find the grandmother of the daughter, the mother of the soldier who came back from captivity, so they could be reunited. And parallel to those returns, there are also thousands of families who are still awaiting any news from their relatives. It is believed that over 8,000 soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, are still held in Russian captivity in appalling conditions. Added to that, 16,000 civilians at least are also in Russian jails. And of course, there's the unknown fate of at least 20,000 Ukrainian children who have been deported by Russia, forcibly deported. And of course, the Ukrainian government is asking for all of those people to return. The Ukrainian government also asked for an all-for-all exchange of prisoners, which Moscow has so far declined.